last saw us, we have been busy with eggs. The egg production has come up into full swing now. We are having a weekly hatch of pheasants. Our first lot are on the field now. We've taken a small delivery of partridge chicks. The rest come next week. Outside of the rearing field, busy trapping and pest control. Game covers have been turned back around now and been resown with the maize. The wild bird mix for our conservation plots will be put in towards the end of the month, and we're going to share some of that with you today. So you join us back in the laying pen, sort of I think nearly 2 months after you last joined us here. So now we're picking up sort of 2 baskets a day out of the laying hens. Yeah, they're really producing a good lot of eggs. Fertility is definitely good this year so far, obviously on the one hatch. And in a minute we'll look at the hatcher and see what the fertility is like again for this next coming hatch. They're certainly obviously happy. They're doing their job. They're much calmer from obviously being caught from the sort of the off the chute to now in the pens. They've now very come accustomed to the laying pen life, as it were, and as you can see, they're much calmer, and obviously we're picking up eggs daily, so yeah, they're used to our human contact now, and yeah, they're very sort of content, happy pheasants. So this is typically what we're after: nice, wholesome looking pheasant eggs, good colour, nice thick shelled. We'll do a weekly pickup, and then once a week we'll set a load of eggs in the incubator, but between then we'll grade out all the poor eggs that we don't want, cracked, broken, or just inferior eggs that we don't want, to get the most fertility and the best hatching results that we want. Every egg is hatched with like a bloom on it. It's like a protective film over the egg, is the best way to describe it. So it's a way of washing the eggs without removing it, so you have clean eggs. So you turn the heating on and on, and then all it does, it just sits there. Basket of eggs, which I'll show you in a minute, goes in, and then you leave sort of 3 to 5, 6 minutes, depending on how dirty they are, and then they just naturally oscillate around. 1 more minute and they should be done. So they sit in there. You can now see what they do. They sit in there, they just slowly roll around. We don't want to cook them, so yeah, it's not long. It's just enough to get them clean. Obviously all eggs are porous, so if you put them into the incubator, they start sucking in oxygen, giving out carbon dioxide, sorry, and then there you go. So like there, you just don't want that. It's probably going to be a bad egg anyway, so we'll probably grade that out, but it will come off, it will clean up. But yeah, all it is, as it's incubating, it will suck in all that bad bacteria through into the egg, and then you can have issues from the chicks from the moment they hatch if you're not careful. So you want good clean eggs, good quality.
So at this moment in time I'm grading the eggs. Out of the graded eggs, about 20% of them aren't good enough for what we want. So broken ones, the sound of a good egg compared to a bad one, I don't know if you can hear it, but a tinny loud noise for a good egg, or a dull thud, as you can see, broken. We can't put broken ones in the incubator because they can cross-contaminate with other eggs.
The daily collection of eggs gets stored up and weekly are put into the incubator, which is where we're going next.
Do weekly sets of eggs, and obviously we keep them in there for 3 weeks, just shy. So now Thursday night, Thursday evening, we're going to take the eggs out of the incubator, and then we transfer, because obviously in the incubator they are in egg trays. We've got to take them out there into the white trays for hatching. So we don't tend to candle because we have enough room in our hatcher for a weekly set, but it's just good to sort of give you an idea of fertility. So I will just candle a tray so you can see. So you're looking at, see the, it might be a good one, can you see the air sac?
Just looking for that large air bubble.
So this is an infertile egg.
That's infertile.
It's infertile. You can see the light shining all the way through it.
Yeah.
You can see the yolk there swimming around. Compare that to a now. Can you see the air sac is very visible? The egg is pretty much dark. Without going too technical, that pretty much tells you that egg is fertile, and that should hatch in a few days' time. That's an egg that's got through the grading. It's got cracked, and you can see, as Dave explained, it's dried out, and it started to split, started to leak, but luckily hopefully hasn't done too much damage. So we pull the eggs back out of the incubator, as I said earlier, 3 weeks from the incubator. Then we transfer on the Thursday evening into the hatcher. The hatcher, they're in there for a further 4 days. They won't actually start pipping until Sunday, and then fully hatch into Monday. So it's Sunday into Monday is when they actually do the hatching, and then we just leave them obviously over Monday night to dry off, and actually pull them out on the hatcher on the Tuesday morning. So 25th day they come out of the hatcher. That's when we pull them out. They obviously, so 24 days is the incubation to the hatch period, but 25 days until we actually pull them out. The chick is formed in the white. The yolk sac is what we call the food sac. The chick will absorb that through the abdomen just before it hatches. That food sac will keep the chick alive for a good period of time, but this is why we want to clean the eggs and have good clean eggs, because the egg is porous, and as the egg is porous, it can absorb the bacteria through the eggshell, which then goes straight into the chick, so you can have problems from the very outset if you don't have good, clean, tidy eggs.
Matt had just changed the scope on his 17 HMR and we went out to get it zeroed.
Johnny's kindly given me a brand new Swarovski scope free of charge, thank you Johnny. And
Funniest joke ever, that one, Matt.
And I'm putting it on the 1.7 because obviously we just had all the game cover drilled and we have quite a few pockets of rabbits here and there. And later on this evening, well, Dave or I will take you out to see some pest control on the game cover. So just trying to get it zeroed. Target's obviously very, very close, just trying to get it on paper, and then we'll move it out to a desired distance that we want to shoot some rabbits. Quality, we're getting there now. So I moved to a 17, well not moved to 17, I got a 17 a couple of years ago. I've always had a 2.2 rimfire, and again, a very, very useful little tool. But we do have, believe it or not, quite a few hares on the farm. At certain times of years, just after harvest, we do have sort of a bit of a cull out, and it's a much better job. Yeah, a much better tool for the job really. And also, I've used it since, and just general pest control. It's a very useful calibre. It's very flat, very fast, and devastating on small sort of species such as rabbits and hares, and obviously even foxes. We've shot a few foxes with them now when we've been out rabbiting, and it's yeah, a good little calibre really. Does the job. So moved out to 100 yards just to get it on paper. It's a bit of a breezy day, which is my excuse. Yeah, brought it in and then just shot a few groups. When there was no wind, you can get it sort of fairly tight, but with wind, no different to changing the zero. It just starts pushing around. Like I said, that's why 17s are a good little calibre, but sort of once you get past 100 yards and on a good old breezy day, you do struggle to keep the groups tight. But yeah, anyway, that's good enough for now. Let's go. We just had all our maize just been drilled. It's only been drilled a few days, so it hasn't germinated yet. But yeah, like I said, we're doing wild bird mix will be done later, but that's, yeah, there's a seed dressing on it. So there's one, and there's another one just dug out a bit further along. You can see it's just starting to germinate now, both ends ready to come out, so we'll put that back in and let it get on with itself. As I was saying, maize is in now. We've gone a bit early this year. We've gone in sort of the first week of May. Whether it's right or wrong, we've still having frost on the ground, which is a bit annoying. But we have other strips in different places. Wild bird mix to do with our HLS and ELS, and obviously conservation. And they will be going in towards the end of the month, first week of June. So yeah, the maize has gone in now, and that will come in. Hopefully we'll have some rain before then. And the moisture is here in the soil, so hopefully it will get away and be a good strong crop. Certainly noticeable, which is what we have certain plots placed around the farm anyway for the lapwings, but they do love obviously this open soil. They do love the nesting inside, and you do see them as you go around the farm, and we'll go around and show you some in a minute.
The lapwing is also called a peewit, named after its unmistakable song. Over the last century, farming practices have intensified, and this has led to horrendous declines of the lapwing population. This, coupled with a higher predation, have led to a UK population of only 140,000 breeding pairs. The work gamekeepers do gives these iconic birds a better chance than they would have on unmanaged land. But even as we watched these birds dance in the air, 3 ravens looked on, a species outside of Matt and Dave's control. After the eggs have been in the hatcher for a few days, we checked back up with Matt and Dave to see what this set has to offer.
A normal pheasant, and the white pheasant, and then a Reeves. You see the difference in heads. Only because we got like a tiny like nursery shed that all the white ones we do separately, and the Reeves just give them a better chance, because being white, the first thing that these chicks want to peck at is movement, and they're the first one that gets pecked, so the tiny little wingtips might get pecked at. So to give them the best chance possible, we keep them separate. Anyway. So this is our rearing field, as you can see. We're not a huge rearing field, but obviously we only rear for ourselves. We start off, obviously, the sheds, night shelters, runs, night shelters and sheds. We do it that way for space. We change the ground where it is each year, but this is how it's set out for this year. We obviously start the chicks off in the sheds under heat in rings, then they have the full shed. They'll go from the shed to the night shelter and then be shut back to the sheds each night until they're an age that they might be able to stay out. And then from then they'll progress, and then they'll go on into the runs. The same thing, they'll be shut back to a point that they'll be off heat soon, and then when they're off heat they'll be staying out, they'll have the whole layout, shed, night shelter and runs, and then from that stage then they'll be taken off the rearing field and moved into the woods. So this is inside one of the brooder sheds. There's many different ways and different people will set them out differently. This is sort of how we tend to set them out. As there's lots of different starting off drinkers and other systems, but this is how we roughly do it because of what we've got. So we start off with a ring inside under a gas heater. We need to provide obviously heat for the birds. When they come out, they've obviously been hatched for about a good 12-24 hours. So the first thing they want to do is when they hit the deck is be warm, and then they want to be able to feed and drink. Some will be 12-24 hours when they're out the egg. They're surviving off the yolk sac, which is absorbed just before they hatch. And then they'll need a feed. So as soon as they hit the deck, we want to make sure the food and water is very, very close. So we start them off on these mini master drinkers, and then obviously chick trays. So make it very, very easy. And again, the heat, keep them close. And then as I said earlier on, then we take the rings out. The corners then are blocked off in the shed still. And then they'll progress from there. And then as they get a bit older, we'll drop into bells just to get them more water into them quicker. The way we do it this way, mini masters are on these obviously egg trays. We just keep them off the shavings. Shavings are renowned for going in the drinkers, and we want to keep everything as clean as possible to avoid disease, contamination and stress. In this shed here is our first hatch of pheasants. They're 2 days old, and as you see, they should be in a perfect ring under the heater, feeding and drinking off the mini masters, off the red trays. Perfect circle around the heater is ideal, but you want them sort of spread out as they are fairly all around. If they're all huddled up in one corner or pushed down somewhere, then you know they're catching a draft, or yeah, it's not warm enough for them, or pushing up hard under the heater. We check them as often as we can really. We've got other jobs to do, but I first check early in the morning, and then obviously feed around 8 o'clock, and then on through the day. Really, at different times, it's hard not to walk past the shed with young chicks in and not just stick your head in and make sure they're safe and well. Now, with obviously the young stock and young chicks, long days have started back up again. So early morning starts for the first checks, and right up to sort of last light for the last checks. And even once it gets dark, I've got the thermal imager that I use for foxing. I can just check the sheds from a distance that the heat's still coming out the shed. And yeah, it's that sort of time of year again to take us all the way through.
So people used to rear chicks under broody hens. We're now doing it under sheep. We've got the sheep in here to keep the grass down, make a better layer of grass for the chicks. They will be taken out. I think these lot are going at the end of the month, because it'll be 4 or 5 weeks till a load of our chicks will be coming out into these pens. It just keeps the grass down for us so we don't have to mow it all the time. Plus it's some food for them. Also it's some food for us as well. We put in our water for the first couple of days of, or first week of the chicks in there, is a chick start. It's basically like a protein shake but for chicks. It's good, it gets them going, gives them a bit of energy. It gets them drinking as well. So it reduces the stress as well and just gets them moving, and a nice healthy chick from the start. They're only 2 days old, these chicks. They've still got all their stripes and everything, but as you can see, I think on these chicks, their wing feathers are just starting to come through. This is quite a crucial stage in their life. They're just taking themselves for a wander, sorry. Once they're past their 3 to 5 day starve out period and chick age, they're on the home straight again in our pheasant pens, and hopefully you'll see the rest of it all happen in front of you. Even at this stage, obviously, as you can see, we've got 3 different colours here: metallistic, I'm going to say normal, and bohemian.
Do you feel a duty of care to these animals?
Of course I feel a duty of care to the animals, because they can't fend for themselves like they are. Someone's got to fend for them as such, look after them, make sure they've got heat, food and water. And if they get ill, treat them so then they carry on and survive.
Just so you know, that's what parenting's all about. That's exactly the same.
Next time you see him, he will be quite scruffy and looking horrible, but I'm sure he's looking forward to seeing you next time.
Gamekeeping at this time of year means early mornings, long days, and even longer evenings out checking the estate. This evening I was joining Dave on one of his daily checks around the woods.
This is my Merkel, or my rifle, shall I rephrase. It's a Merkel with it's actually a Alpinist with a speedster stock on it.
Which makes it a speedster.
Which in the end makes it basically a speedster. Got some Blaser sticks, which are okay. That's all I'm going to say about them, is they're okay. I think the Merkel rifles, it's out on top, but it's 10 times better. So we're going to go out and we're going to try go for a wander and shoot a deer or a fox that are in my pen. I know there's a deer in my pheasant pen, and a fox I'm sure we'll see one kicking about somewhere. Just about to go for a little stalk through this wood. My pheasant pen's just there, and I know there's a couple of deer that have been hanging around in and around it, and it is just getting to that time of year where I've got to get my pheasant pens ready for poults going in. So I've just stumbled across a little patch of feathers. It does look like we've had a fox have one of my hen birds, sadly. At least I know I've got something to go for. We've actually got quite a convenient thing here for this time of year, or at this moment in time in this world. We've got a high seat and a high tower sat right next to each other. So I'm going to jump up in the tower and Johnny's going to jump up in the seat, and hopefully we've got a big cross ride here. Hopefully something will pop out. Hopefully we see something. So we just got a high suit to walk away, and a buck that we were after has just ran off, and walking back to the buggy, just up against my pheasant pen that's right here, a muntjac doe was just running off as well, so not so successful at this moment in time, but we've hopefully it will be more successful in a minute.
Walking onto the field margin, Dave spotted an old roebuck. I had to lie down to see through the cover, but don't worry, the backstop was good and the shot was safe.
So this year, well, I've just shot a deer out in one of the maize fields that they've just planted. Half the farm is planted in maize this year, which hopefully will be a benefit and a bad side to the shoot. With the amount of foxes that we could be seeing after the maize has been cut, well, I don't know, I don't want to think about that. But no, so we've just done the farmer a good deed, shooting something that's been eating his crop. I've seen this buck around for the last couple of years. It's quite a good one to shoot, to be fair. It's quite old, it's quite small as well. Removing this old buck helps the young bucks come through. It also helps the crop, as you can see, he was eating it, and it helps me because it was his food to go in my freezer. One thing I forgot to mention was I shot that with quad sticks. That deer was 160 yards. With these quad sticks, no doubt in my mind that I was going to miss it. I'm joking, but it keeps you nice and steady. They are very good. You can get a fifth leg for them, even better. It's time for Johnny and the camera to go home now, but I've got to go out and set out for a fox evening, so I've got one kicking about and it'd be nice to get it.